We already covered 10 casinos that won't make it to 2030, but that video focused on long-term predictions through the end of the decade. This is different. These are 5 casinos that will close in the next 12 to 24 months. 2025 to 2026, not predictions, near certainties. Some are already for sale. Some are hemorrhaging money. Some are owned by companies in financial crisis. All 5 are closer to closure than most people realize. Let's count them down from least urgent to most urgent and see which Vegas casinos are about to disappear. Number 5. Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. 60% likely by late 2026. Location: off-strip on Paradise Road. Opened March 2021 as Virgin Hotels after rebranding from Hard Rock. 1,504 rooms. Virgin Hotels is struggling. The property never recovered from opening during the pandemic. Location is terrible, off-strip on Paradise Road between Hard Rock Cafe and the former Hooters site. No foot traffic. Tourists need rideshare to go anywhere. The Virgin brand hasn't resonated in Vegas. Richard Branson's Virgin Empire works for airlines and music stores. It doesn't work for Vegas casinos. The property has no clear identity or compelling reason to stay there versus any strip hotel. Owner is Juniper Capital Partners and Virgin Hotels. Financial performance isn't publicly disclosed, but reports suggest the property is underperforming. Occupancy is lower than strip competitors. Room rates are discounted heavily to fill inventory. Why only 60% and not higher? Because the property is relatively new, only 4 years old. Owners might give it more time to turn around. And off-strip real estate isn't as valuable as strip land. But if performance doesn't improve dramatically, Virgin Hotels will either rebrand again or close by late 2026. The Virgin experiment failed. Number 4. Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino. 70% likely by mid-2026. Location: off-strip on Flamingo Road. Opened January 1990. Owned by Dreamscape companies since 2019. The Rio hasn't had a major renovation since Dreamscape bought it in 2019 for $888 million. The property is aging badly. Reviews mention dated rooms, worn facilities, and declining service. Dreamscape bought the Rio from Caesars Entertainment with plans to renovate and reposition it. That hasn't happened. 5 years later, the property looks worse than when Dreamscape bought it. The Penn and Teller Theater is the only draw. Their magic show runs 5 nights a week. Without Penn and Teller, the Rio would have almost zero tourism appeal. Off-strip location is a curse. The Rio is a quarter-mile west of the Strip. Close enough to see the Strip, but too far to walk? You need rideshare or rental car? That's a deal-breaker for most tourists. Dreamscape is a real estate investment company, not a casino operator. They bought the Rio for the land, not to operate a casino long-term. The property sits on 70 acres of valuable land near the Strip. Why 70%? Because Dreamscape will eventually redevelop the site. Operating a declining casino doesn't align with their business model. Expect closure announcement in 2026 with redevelopment plans. Number 3. Palms Casino Resort. 75% likely by early 2026. Location: off-strip on Flamingo Road near Rio. 702 rooms. Owned by San Manuel Band of Mission Indians since 2021. The Palms closed March 16, 2020 due to the pandemic. It reopened April 27, 2022, after San Manuel spent $690 million on renovations. Despite the investment, the Palms is struggling. Off-strip location kills it. Tourists don't want to stay off-strip anymore. The property caters to locals, but locals have dozens of options closer to home. San Manuel overpaid. They bought the Palms for $650 million in 2021. Then spent another $690 million on renovations. Total investment, $1.34 billion. For that money, they got a 702-room off-strip property with mediocre occupancy and declining revenue. That's a terrible investment. San Manuel is a tribal gaming operator, They own Yamava Resort and Casino in Southern California. They know how to run casinos. But the Palms location is unfixable. No amount of renovation changes the fact that it's off-strip. Why 75%? Because San Manuel is likely evaluating their options. They've already sunk $1.34 billion. Continuing to operate at losses makes no sense. Expect them to either sell at a massive loss or close by early 2026. Number 2, the Mirage site, 85% likely to stay closed through 2026. Location, Center Strip, already closed July 17, 2024. Hard Rock International bought the Mirage from MGM for $1.075 billion. They're supposed to transform it into Hard Rock Las Vegas with a 350-foot guitar-shaped hotel tower. The problem? Construction hasn't started. The Mirage closed July 2024. 6 months later, the site is mostly dormant. Some demolition, but no major construction. Hard Rock is owned by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. They have money. But the project timeline keeps slipping. Originally scheduled to open 2027, now pushed to late 2027 or 2028. Here's what's really happening. Hard Rock is watching Resorts World and Fontainebleau collapse financially. Both properties cost over $3 billion and are losing money. Hard Rock is rethinking whether building another mega resort makes sense. The guitar-shaped tower design was finalized, plans were approved, but starting construction while 2 recently opened mega resorts are failing? That's a massive risk. Most likely scenario, the Mirage site stays mostly closed through 2026 with minimal activity. Hard Rock might announce project cancellation or major redesign, or they start construction late 2026, and the site remains a construction zone for years. Either way, the Mirage as it existed is gone forever. And there's a strong chance the Hard Rock replacement never opens as planned. Number 1, Sahara Las Vegas, 90% likely by spring 2026. Location, North Strip, 1,616 rooms, owned by Meruelo Group. The Sahara is in crisis. Owner Alex Meruelo is selling, not just considering it, actively marketing the property for sale. Meruelo is primarily trying to offload the property to pay off debt and recoup losses from his failed attempt to keep the Arizona Coyotes NHL team. He lost hundreds of millions on that deal. Now he needs cash. The Sahara was renovated and reopened in August 2019 after being closed since 2011. Meruelo spent substantial money on the renovation, but the property never achieved financial success. North Strip location is cursed. The Sahara sits at the far north end of the Strip near Circus Circus. Tourists don't walk that far north. The property relies on convention business from the nearby Las Vegas Convention Center. But convention business is soft. Many companies reduced travel budgets after the pandemic. The convention center expansion hasn't generated the expected traffic. Properties near the convention center are struggling. The Sahara has low occupancy. Room rates are heavily discounted. The casino is often empty. Meruelo is losing money every month. Why 90% likely to close by spring 2026? Because Meruelo is desperate to sell. If he finds a buyer, they'll either close the property immediately to redevelop or operate it briefly before closing. If he doesn't find a buyer, he'll close it himself to stop the bleeding. The Sahara name is legendary in Vegas history. The original Sahara opened 1952. The Rat Pack performed there. The Beatles stayed there. It was a Vegas icon. But the reopened Sahara never captured that magic. It's just another struggling North Strip property with a famous name and no customers. Meruelo will announce closure by spring 2026. Mark it down. 3 of these 5 casinos are off-strip. Virgin Hotels, Rio, Palms. All 3 are failing for the same reason: location. Tourists don't stay off-strip anymore. 10 years ago, you could offer lower rates and attract budget travelers. Not anymore. They'd rather stay at an older strip property like Excalibur or Luxor than deal with the inconvenience of off-strip. Rideshare costs add up. If you're taking Uber or Lyft to the Strip multiple times per day, the savings on room rate disappear. Tourists realize this and avoid off-strip properties. Off-strip casinos also can attract convention business because convention attendees want walkable access to the Strip for dining and entertainment after meetings. The off-strip casino model is dead. Virgin Hotels, Rio, and Palms are all victims of that reality. The Sahara and Mirage site are both North Strip. North Strip is cursed for the same reason off-strip is cursed: location. Tourists cluster on Center and South Strip. Bellagio, Cosmopolitan, Area, MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay. That's where the action is. North Strip has Resorts World and Fontainebleau, both failing. It has Circus, the worst property in Vegas currently for sale. It had the Mirage, now closed. It has the Sahara, about to close. The only successful North Strip properties are Wynn and Encore, which succeed through luxury positioning and loyal customer base. Everything else North Strip is struggling or closing. The Mirage closure is directly tied to the Resorts World and Fontainebleau disasters. Hard Rock is watching two mega resorts hemorrhage money and questioning whether to proceed with their own $3 billion project. If Fontainebleau declares bankruptcy in 2026 and Resorts World continues collapsing, Hard Rock might cancel the project entirely. The Mirage site could sit vacant for years, like Echelon did. That would be tragic. The Mirage was profitable when MGM sold it. Now it's closed and might never reopen in any form, all because Hard Rock's timing is terrible. Alex Meruelo with the Sahara, Dreamscape with the Rio, San Manuel with the Palms. All three ownership groups are either actively selling or evaluating exit strategies. When owners want out, closure follows. Even if they find buyers, the new owners typically rebrand or redevelop. The existing property dies either way. Virgin Hotels has different ownership issues. Juniper Capital Partners and Virgin Hotels are operating partners, not long-term holders. If the property keeps losing money, they'll cut their losses. Which one do you think closes first? Did I miss any imminent closures? Let me know in the comments. If you want to know which casinos are actually closing before you book your Vegas trip, subscribe to Vegas Vault. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the closure announcements when they happen. See you in the next video.